Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to Never Alone Live. We are very excited today. Today we have our friend Amanda Crossley is here with us today, and she's going to be sharing her experience, strength, and hope. We're going to ask her some questions. We're going to have some fun. Amanda, how are you today?
I'm good. It's a great day to be sober.
It's lovely to have you on here. Where are you from?
I am originally from New Jersey, so you will hear it when I start to talk, and I'm going to be using my hands a lot.
Okay, we're gonna be talking all day long. This is gonna be
Yes.
phenomenal. We don't even know. How long have you been sober?
I've been sober for 11 years. So my sobriety date is September 10th, 2014. So last month I just took 11 years. And I live in
Congratulations.
Orange County, California now too, by the way. I got
Okay, so you're in
out of New
California
Jersey.
now.
Yeah.
Nice. Love that. I love California. And we've got a lot of people, a lot of friends from California who are gonna be on here. So tell us your story, Amanda. Tell us about Amanda.
Okay, so how I got here, because it wasn't all, I wasn't winning at life to make it to where I am now, but originally from New Jersey. I have two sisters who are also alcoholics. I am the middle child. My parents, have been married for 36 years. I had a good childhood. I tell you all this stuff because nothing traumatic happened in my childhood to make me an alcoholic. I had a good childhood, and I played a lot of sports. Mom had dinner on the table. I don't come from money, but we had mostly like everything that we needed, right? And I in high school, I'm telling you, I was popular, got good grades, was on the homecoming court. Everything was good. I drank, but it wasn't my experience. Isn't that a lot of people, their first sip of alcohol and they were just like, huh, and they arrived. That's not my story. I I drank, but it was just like kind of like whatever to me. Both of my sisters started to get loaded at a very young age, and I resented both of them. And I said I never wanted to be like either one of them. I thought I was a very judgmental person when it came to alcoholism and addiction. I, again, watched my sisters use drugs and drink. And I remember my little sister was 12 years old. She smoked a cigarette. And I was like, ew, you're disgusting. Like that's how I was. Like it just like grossed me out. And they had a really like tight relationship, and they bonded like, over their addiction. And all eyes were on my sisters with my parents. And I was just kind of like getting like, just everything was like good with me, but what happened was I graduated high school and I met him, the love of my life, and I started to party a lot more. But life was like very manageable because I just started going to community college. I just bought like a new car for myself. I was working, and here's the kicker, I had a really good job at the time. I was working in a pharmacy. So, and since I started partying more, and I got introduced to drugs pretty much from through him, and that is the moment that I knew like I arrived, right? I snorted, and back in the day it was just Percocet. I split it with a friend, snorted it, threw up, and then I was like, should we get another one? And that's pretty much where my addiction took off. And it just worked out that I worked in a pharmacy, and that became my get down for a very long time. I started to steal pills from the pharmacy. And I know like we're very like smart, trustworthy people, right? And I did the inventory, right? Like they like trusted me. And I was just stealing pills, and I was filling prescriptions for my friends, and they were like, and we're like going halves on it, and like yeah. And at this point, while I'm doing that and not like still going to school, have the boyfriend, the car, still making car payments, living with my parents. Both of my sisters have been to rehab at this point. Um, but like I'm better than, because they are shooting heroin and I would never do that, right? And I mean, I knew at like one point I was physically addicted to, pills, but I had no idea about anything about this disease of, alcoholism. Like I had no idea. So uh one day, this lasted like a while. One day I went to work and I saw the manager standing by the time clock, and I knew like I was caught, right? But in that moment it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, like I have a problem. My first thought was, how am I going to get high today? That's it. That's all I was thinking about. And from there, when I walked out of there, I did not get arrested. I did it in a very sneaky way. They couldn't really it was crazy. I did not get arrested, but that is the first day I did heroin. And from there, it just turned into an endless cycle of misery, a lot of chaos. And I went to rehab 2 weeks later after I got fired, but only because I thought like they were going to press charges against me. I didn't know what was going to happen. So I just went, I'm like, let me go to rehab. And when I told my parents, they were shocked. Again, all eyes were on like my sisters and the focus was on them. So they were so shocked that like I needed to go to treatment. And I went to treatment. And what did I do? I compared myself to everybody. There was a lot of crazy, people in there, and all the things that they were doing, I was not doing. I was like, whoa, I just needed a quick detox. So let me get out of here. I lasted 14 days, got out and got high immediately. And then my next journey was, okay, New Jersey is the problem. Let me get out of New Jersey. And I went to Florida because at that point, my older sister was in a halfway house out there. Let's get an apartment out there. Again, don't come for money. My dad helped us like get an apartment. We each had a bed, a couch, a TV. And again, I didn't have this tight relationship with my sister, right? Because I was just like, ew, to both of them. Within 2 months out there, I started getting high with my older sister. We sold everything in that apartment. We were sleeping on an air mattress that had a hole in it. And we would just wake up in the morning and be on the ground, And then at that point, I realized, okay, my sister's crazy. She's the problem. Let me go back to Jersey. So like, here's this like victim mentality of it's everyone else's fault, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure you guys can relate to that. Yep. It was just like all these circumstances, like I just said, like, oh, if I would have grew up with money, like my life wouldn't be like this. And oh, if my sisters didn't do this, like it was just my parents did this. And if I didn't meet that boyfriend, like it was always everybody else's fault.
I think we all have that person, those people in our life that were worse than us.
Yes.
How could you call me that bad? I'm not that bad. Look at this person. That's the person that is you should be looking at. Those are the troubles. And I'm loving your story, the powerlessness, the yets. I will never do that. I will never do that. And then here we are doing it. That's the ism, right? That's how we keep going down. Those things that we never said that we would never do. Krista, what were you never going to do that you wound up doing?
Gosh.
Oh yeah, I like putting Krista on the spot.
Oh my gosh. Like I haven't thought about that. Thank you. Sorry. Messy miracles. Let's see. Like certain drugs I did that I didn't think I'd ever do. At the very end, like the guy I was dating, like I didn't think I'd be with somebody who used syringes or, like any of that. I was so naive, and I can relate a lot to your story, Amanda, because I come from like the same family, like almost to a T. But I'm the only sober one to this day. But my little sisters got me doing things. But she got out of it. I took it to a whole nother level. But I never saw myself with 12 felonies and getting arrested over and over and over and over again. And I just kept doing it. I kept getting out, and my parents, they didn't know they were enabling me, but I was being enabled. Like, they just thought I was just like hanging with the wrong crowd, but it was actually something inside of me. And yeah.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, my family's very lucky to have me because I think I was your sisters, and they were. I was the one that said, "At least I'm not as bad as Johnny."
Yeah.
All right, Amanda. So you're going back to Jersey.
Going back to Jersey now at this point, and by that point, my little sister now is back home because she went to Texas, got married to some guy in the military, started getting high out there, divorced, came back. So now she's home in Jersey. So what do? I start getting high with my little sister in New Jersey. And then I start doing things that I never thought that I would do. I'm hanging out with these people. I'm robbing houses. Like, that is like becomes my get down. Yeah, hanging out with some very strange characters. Because, like, we can meet the craziest people in our addiction. It doesn't like matter. It's just as long as like I can get something from you, like that's all that really mattered to me, right? And then my older sister comes back from Florida. She blows her life up like out there. She comes back from Florida, and now all three of us are getting high in my parents' house. And my dad took like all the doors off in the house because we couldn't even like go to the bathroom, close the door, because he just like, they couldn't trust us. It came to a point like where my dad's like going through our trash, right? I'll never forget. It was another like day of chaos, screaming fights, like everything, because, my parents know that we're like getting high and they're disgusted by us. And I come home and all the trash is on the kitchen table, and talking like baggies of heroin, like everything. And my dad, like, he's just like, and the first thing that I say is, "Ew, you went through my trash. You're disgusting." Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, what? There's like empty bags, like there's syringes and everything. And he's just like thinking like, so it was just chaos. Like, I'm talking like holding my mom's purse, like crying, like she's crying. I'm like, "Give me your purse now. Like, we need money, And my dad screaming like, just stop. And I swear, yeah. And I swear to you that I if I would have took a lie detector right then and there, like I would have, okay, like I'm like, I wanted to so bad, but like I just couldn't. And then it became the cycle of like me and my sisters, we don't have insurance, we don't have money, in and out of like low bottom treatment, like quick detoxes, 7 to 14 days. But one of us would get out and the other still getting high. And then here we go. That's when the cycle of like, we're constantly getting arrested and, going to jail. And then we start doing things, like those, like what you just talked about, the things that you never thought that you would do. Right, Krista? Is like, I never thought that I would go as low to, put myself out there to, here I am sleeping with guys to get money, and that's not how I was raised, like I was disgusted with myself. I hated myself and like who I became because I was not supposed to be this person. I was like 25 at this point, right? And like I was supposed to have, this perfect husband and this perfect house for this perfect career. That's like this, like what I thought in my head. And it wasn't like, it didn't work out like that. And then I tell you this part of my story because it's how my God works in my life, is that my dad was obsessed with Dr. Phil, and he would always like have him on the TV and like, or like cut out like newspaper articles. Remember newspapers? And like he would like leave them like on the kitchen table, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Phil talked a lot about like addiction, and you knew like when you went on there, like you would get sent to treatment, right? And so I decided to write a letter to Dr. Phil one night. Another night of chaos in the
You
house.
wrote the letter.
Yes, I wrote the letter. Yeah, I wrote the letter to Dr. Phil, and I just kind of like shared a day in the life in the Holloway house, right? My parents married, like they're constantly fighting because of us. Like we're just causing chaos. Like I know people think like, oh, why didn't your parents just kick you out? And it is like it's just hard. Now that I have kids, I think about all these things because I mean, honestly, my mom probably just would rather us be high and she could see us than out
Yeah.
there somewhere. Do you know what I'm saying? And like,
Yeah.
like who knows? I think that's just like what it came down to. And like me and my mom was a huge like enabler. My dad, I don't know. I think he was just put in a bad spot, right? 3 junkie like daughters,
Yeah.
like damn, you know. So, but yeah, I'll never forget. My little sister just got out of jail. She just did like 4 months. I just got arrested, and like it just craziness. And I had this is 2 years later, mind you. So I wrote that letter actually when I was 23 years old to Dr. Phil. And then 2 years later, I got a call from the producers of Dr. Phil, and they said they wanted to do a show on addiction the following week. And basically, I like to like joke about it, but like the call basically went like, "Hey, like, are you guys still pieces of shit?" It's like, yeah, matter of fact, we are. Like,
Yeah.
so like, let's do this,
Good
you know?
timing.
Yeah. So it all happened very fast, and like Dr. Phil sent out one camera guy to come out to New Jersey, and he filmed us for 2 days. It's just a normal get down of us getting loaded, me and my sisters. And for us, it was a full-time job, you know, like just the hustle of doing it, like to get money. And then we would be going to Camden to cop dope, and just like, it was just craziness. And he just followed us around. And then on September 7th, 2014, we flew to Hollywood, and we filmed the Dr. Phil show on September 9th, 2014. So that's why my sobriety date is September 10th,
Oh my God, I want to cry.
2014. Yeah, so we walked on stage September 9th, me and my sisters. My parents were already on there, and I'll never forget, like, you know, the big screens, like behind, like
Yeah.
my parents sitting in the chairs on stage. All I see is like us shooting heroin. And like, listen, I know our families know like what we'd like do, you know, but they don't actually ever like see you
Yeah.
doing that, you know, or like the way we get money, like all the things. So it
Yeah.
was like traumatic as fuck. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
just
seeing your
them.
parents watch that is a whole nother
Yeah.
thing too.
Yeah. I was also high on the stage too.
Yeah,
So
I
like,
bet.
you know, like that also. And like it was crazy. I don't know what we were thinking, because I hid my like addiction for so long, because like I wasn't ready to accept like this is like who I am. My sisters were like fully out there, you know, but I was kind of trying to like
Yep.
still like, you know, live that double life, and like try so hard to like just not be that person. So just like realizing that millions of people were going to see this and like know the truth, you know, it was something so hard. I was terrified of that until like I actually, you know, got into treatment. We all went to treatment. We walked off set. I got in a limo, and just they sent me to Orange County, California. Yeah. And so
Wow.
once I got into treatment, and they took us to a meeting, they introduced us, you know, to a 12-step program. And like that's where like my recovery like journey
Yeah.
really started, right? And at that point, I was so desperate. I was in treatment, this bougie treatment center, like with a chef, like everything, with all these like young girls. I'm 25 at the time. Like they're like 18, 19, like they come from a lot of money, you know, and I'm just like thinking to myself, like, where am I? But I was just like, you know what? I'm just willing and ready to do the work. And I got a sponsor I started working steps. I got, you know, a lot of commitments. I fellowshipped super hard. I didn't have a license. I didn't get my license till I was 3 years sober, by the way. Like, that's just, so I would have to, you know, if you guys know the feeling of like catching, like, I would have to get rides with people that I would normally not, and then I'd be stuck with them going to the diner and like bowling all this stuff. And I was just like, you know, but like, dude, it plugged me in to like the community. I met so many people. And then I got this get well job, which I still work to this day at the latest thing, which is a recovery store in Costa Mesa, California. And that also really like helped. I met so many people. And then one day I had 4 months sober, and I just got back to my sober living. I get back and I'm in my twin size bed. I just peed in a cup for this little 18-year-old girl who was my house mom, right? I just worked all day, went to a meeting, had to, you know, cook myself like some frozen chicken in the freezer, and I'm just exhausted. But in that moment, I realized I did not think about getting voted all day. You know, like that makes me want to cry because it's like all I thought about all the time. Like, oh my God, like I can do it, you know? So like 4 months sober, and just like that feeling of like I'm just fully surrendering and like, yeah, dude, I don't have to live like that anymore. It's not, I think I'm going to be okay. Just that freedom, you know? And I know I've heard you guys say it, like that happy, joyous, and free, like feeling, right? And yeah, so, and then, but like that's what I'm saying, like it wasn't all great. That's just like, you know, the beginning. But there was a lot of ups and downs. 6 months sober, my little sister decided she wasn't going to be sober anymore. You know, like a year sober. The boyfriend that I had, he relapsed. The best friend relapsed. My other older sister decided this program wasn't for her anymore, and she wasn't going to be sober anymore. You know, like I just watched all these people like around me. But like one thing that stayed consistent with me was I continued to go to a meeting every single day. You know, from working the steps, I gained this like connection with a higher power. And I truly, like, you know what I mean? Just like let go of, like, you know, like I was able to see my part in so many things, and truly like surrender and just continue to like help others. I started sponsoring women. That was not like of me because I'm super selfish and only thinking about myself. And you know, and then also thinking, what do I have to offer to anybody, right? Because I don't know, like if you guys can relate, like still to this day, because since we all have like a lot of time, you know, sober, if you can relate to, like, our head still tells us sometimes that like we're pieces of shit and like we don't deserve that, right? Yeah, so like I feel like sometimes, like, you know, but that's me constantly like trying to like do the work and get out of myself to just remember, like, oh yeah, this is why I do this. I do have something to offer. And that key thing of me trying to hide it for so long, now, like, if I can, millions of people saw the Dr. Phil show. And like if it helped one person, which it did, I went back on the show 3 times to talk to like other, you know, addicts families. So like that was like, you know, a thing. And then it became for me to share my story now, because my sobriety, my recovery is my superpower, right? Like it's just something I hold near and dear to me, and it means everything to me. And I feel like it's such a great thing that all the struggles that we have all been through, it made us who we are today. And like, I would say you guys are pretty freaking great, you know, like we all are. Like we have a little spice, a little season. Right.
You know what? I want to talk about, Amanda. You know, you brought at 4 months, you woke up and said, "Oh my goodness, I didn't have the desire today." You know, that's sticking around until the miracle happens. You know, that's like the definition of it. Sticking around until the miracle happens. The miracle happens is that day that I wake up and it's like, whoa, I didn't even realize it. I can't imagine. I don't remember my day exactly when that happened, but it happened. And the day that I woke up and wasn't thinking about alcohol, wasn't thinking about drugs, wasn't thinking about using, I was actually thinking just normal, regular thoughts. What? Normal, regular thoughts? A normal person? Oh my goodness, you know? And so that's amazing. And I've got a bunch of
4
questions.
months for me too.
I got a bunch of questions. I was going to ask you, Krista, when did the miracle happen for you?
Yeah, I've been saying it for like, it's always been 4 months. Well, my program was 4 months, but I went to jail for a month before rehab. So I was almost finished. I had an end in sight. I was just finished like getting to step 12, and I had a sponsor, and I can relate so much with because I mean, was that the first time you ever went to rehab, like a real rehab, and worked the steps? Is when you got sober? Yeah. So you technically are like a one chip wonder, because I mean, you did detox and stuff, but you weren't working like trying a program, you know, but you applied yourself and you did what it said. You followed the directions. And my rehab, I just remember being in rehab going, oh my gosh, like I don't ever want to live that way anymore. Like I'm going to be okay. And this is cool. And I can't wait to tell everyone about what I've learned here. And I was so excited to go home. But 4 months is I call it my sweet spot. It's when it like, the miracle did start to happen, and the promises started rolling in.
It's amazing because so I've got a question. I want to talk about the Dr. Phil show a bit, not a lot, because the Dr. Phil show kind of gave you the gift of desperation, hearing yourself talk about these things, seeing the reaction on mom's face, yada yada, et cetera, et cetera. That had to have been so painful that gave you that gift of desperation that let you go and do the steps and do things that are new. And I love that, and I'm proud of you about it. But I want to ask, you know, so you're on Dr. Phil, you got this letter, and they got the letter, they put you on the show. You know, what did Dr. Phil say to you that actually pushed you to that next step? Did he say anything to you that pushed you to that next step, or was it kind of just being there?
I think it was just being there and be like, honestly, like, again, like I was loaded. I've only watched the show ever in my life, like twice. And I do remember like the audience, like clapping when he would say something like mean, like, you know, oh, you guys, like you brought, you know, your drugs here in your suitcase, or like, oh, you were driving around on my roads high, like, you know, like things like, but he didn't say like anything profound to me. Like basically, like I just knew I was getting free treatment, and like there's like going to be a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people out there that don't have money, don't have insurance. They, you know, and you kind of feel stuck. I felt stuck high for a long time, and I wasn't even getting high. I was just getting like I was getting loaded to feel normal, right? Just to wake up and be able to brush my hair or anything, you know, like I needed to get high. So it wasn't anything that like he said, you know, it was just the treatment that I was getting, because then after that, it was just a kickstart, like you said, Johnny, like that got me to treatment. That treatment introduced me to, you know, my 12-step program, and that's where the recovery really like started. So basically I used Dr. Phil for free treatment. That's like, you know,
he had a plan in place for you though, like a plan to offer you, like, here, take this.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's 3 treatment center owners like out in the audience, and he was just like, yeah, like, okay, Amanda, you're gonna go here, and Darlene, you're gonna go here, and Tiffany, you're gonna go there. And like, I mean, it was like truly like I had a lot of like God moments, like how I got picked to go to this one treatment center. Like the treatment center I went to was all women's treatment center. That woman who owned it, she scholarshiped me for 14 months straight. You know, my sisters didn't get that. My little sister got like 2 months. My older sister got like 3 months. She scholarshiped me for 14 months. I was able to work and save money. Like, so like, you know, like I'm forever grateful for that woman, you know, because by the way, Dr. Phil doesn't like pay. It's free app marketing for those treatment centers, right? But it's up to the treatment center, the owner, how much they want to scholarship you and like everything like that. So that's just like, yeah, for me to go to that one and for it all work out and like, you know, but yeah, I don't know. I was loaded and he didn't really say anything that was fun. and then yeah, that's pretty much how that went.
Okay, so now second question. If they had not read your letter, had they not invited you to the show, had they not done that, would you be where you are today?
No, absolutely not. I mean, back in the day when me and my sisters were getting high, it was just like good old heroin, like
Yeah.
nowadays, like it's
Well, the next
fentanyl.
year is when the bad stuff hit the streets,
Yes, the next
2015.
year, like fentanyl, boom, like, I truly believe one of us would have been dead. I have no idea where I would be, and also now out there in the East Coast where I was getting high, like it's the xylazine and people are losing limbs and stuff. Like I trip out thinking like that could have been me, I have no idea. That it's crazy and a scary thought to think about, but sometimes I do think about that. If the show didn't happen, like where would I be today? I truly believe me or one of my sisters like wouldn't be here though, for sure.
That's amazing. So grateful for Dr. Phil. So Dr. Phil, if you're listening out there, we're grateful for you for calling Amanda, and that's so cool, and that's your bottom was winding up on Dr. Phil,
Yeah.
That you even wrote the letter. Like that's huge too. I mean, there was desperation then. You were calling for
Yeah.
help, and that's
Yeah.
wild. And think how
No, I
many
know, because a
people
lot of people
watched that
think,
show and got something from it just watching it.
yeah, I've gotten so many like messages online, everything. Oh, I remember you. I've seen the show, and like, whoa, I was wondering where you guys were, and just like, and just seeing it, like, wow, that's like crazy, but
Yeah.
yeah. And like a lot of people also, for my parents, like I grew up in a small town. It was like that we were the talk of the town, right? And that aired. And my parents were like, we all are going to like treatment in different states and we're like getting help we need. My parents are stuck in that town,
Yeah.
like having to leave their house and just like be like,
They're left
somehow
with the
they're
mess.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like they felt that, but then now like years like later, like how many people have went to my parents to be like, hey, my kid is going through this, like, so now they
Yeah.
have that gift as well of like it's just out in the open and they can like help people, right? Also, a good news to share with you is that my sisters have both struggled in the last like 11 years. They have not like been sober this whole time, but both of my sisters are currently sober. They both have 10 months sober. So, yeah. So that's like, it's super, super cool that, that they get to, they're like, doing now. They don't do what I do. They don't work like the same program that I do, but I'm truly like, whatever like works for them. I didn't always used to be like that. But almost 7 years ago, I'm big on like also talking about like it doesn't matter like the substance that you use, like the drink, the drug, like whatever it is, because I also thought like that, like, oh, like I'm not shooting heroin, like, and then I went out and did that, like, or I'm not smoking meth, that person's crazy, like all these things. But almost 7 years ago, my sister-in-law, so like she was like one of like my best friends, she compared herself to me and her brother because my husband is also sober. We also like both got arrested lots of times, like in and out of like just like being the withdrawals, all the things, robbing, stealing, like everything. She compared herself to us, and she couldn't admit that she was like one of us because she would drink, black out, get crazy, all the things. And she ended up killing herself in a blackout. Yeah, so like and like I would do anything to have her, and I was mad at her at the time because we tried to get her like to go to treatment and to like, I'm like, get the help you need. Like everything went out the window. All that I knew that I can't like make anyone get sober, everything went out the window. So like me and my husband were like upset with her that she wouldn't get help and everything when this all happened. And yeah, so like I would do anything to like have her here today. Like, like it's just, yeah. So I'm just big on like talking about, it doesn't matter like what you did. It's like the feeling behind it and the reason, so yeah, that was just super hard to go through.
It's Amanda, I'm telling you, your story is amazing, and I'm like I said, I'm so proud of you. And
Thank you.
I'm gonna jump over to our comments real quick because we got a
Um,
bunch of friends over here that are making. I'm telling you, everybody is kind of loving your story. Our friend Tiffany, who's been here every single Never Alone live we've done. Tiffany's in here. She's from Canada, and we love you, Tiffany.
Hey,
And
Tiffany.
Drew. Drew is in here, and he left this message a while ago, but he's at 3 years sober yesterday.
Oh,
So,
that's
Drew,
awesome.
dude,
Woo!
we're so proud of you. If you're
Congrats, Drew.
celebrating something in the comments, let us know, because if you're celebrating, we're celebrating. We love you. And, and then it was funny. So, right before you were telling us like an update about your sisters, our friend Brandy said, "Where are her sisters now?" so they are into your story and they are ingrained. They want to know what happened next.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody for being here. And if you are celebrating something, let us know so we can give you a shout out. But okay, so now you've been on Dr. Phil, you've been on multiple times, what else do you do? I know you have a big social media following. And just like Krista and I, we're out here, recovering out loud, and the anytime we can help anybody, we go on TikTok every morning and talk to a lot of people. So it's awesome. Talk to me about your social media presence, what you do, how you get your message out there.
So I share a lot, about like my story and just like kind of the struggles, because I feel like it's like important to like talk about that, you get sober and not everything is super perfect, right? And I'm a mom, I'm a wife, like I have 2 little kids. So just the struggle of like, being a mom and like being sober, like we don't like get to, at night, like drinks the wine, to calm down, or pop a Xanax to chill out, right? So like I just like, very open and talk about my sobriety and have connected with a lot of people. I actually have 2 sponsees. I call them like Instagram like sponsees, because they messaged me and asked me to like sponsor them. So I'm always willing to, we FaceTime and do like the work, right? And then I also have a group of girls. We are called the Sober Girl Group Chat, and it's 9 of us. We all connected and we have our own chat. It was just like a way for all of us to, we live all across the country. We don't live in the same places. We connected, just kind of being there for each other. And we started a Facebook group actually in June. It has grown to 8,000 women in there who can all like support each other. Yes, you are in there. So we can all like, support each other constantly. We do a lot of like events and panels, and constantly just trying to like show our main thing. And like there's like the shirt back there, the Sober Girl Group Chat. We always like, we try to just like make it like to show that sobriety, like recovery, is fun, because I think a lot of people think that like you're gonna get sober and then like kind of like your life is over. So that's one thing I like showcase on my platform, is that I do a lot of fun things. And I liked how you talked about, Johnny, how you had like these normal thoughts that like one day, right? And that's what like people are like, oh, so like what do you guys do, what do you do for fun? And I'm like, I say, I do everything that you do, I just don't drink. And their mind is blown. Do you know what I mean? Like I literally can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
But I
and you save money while doing it too.
Yeah, like I do a lot of things. I have a lot of fun, and so just showcasing that like, sobriety like is fun, and that, again, big huge thing, that you're never alone. That's why like this, like it just means like, in what you guys do, it's so powerful. And like how you guys just are on live every day, like do you know how much that means to people? Like that's just like, so like, and that just showcasing that you're never alone. But yeah, and just anybody's always welcome to like reach out. I get a lot of messages and just try to constantly just, help like whoever I've gotten people into treatment before. Yeah, it's just, I'm just willing and just to show people that you're not alone and to recover out loud. It's just a big thing of mine. Yeah.
That's great. So we just posted Amanda's Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all that stuff in the comments. Amanda Holla, and that's the New Jersey in you right there. Do
Yeah.
people talk about your accent because you're in Orange County?
Oh yeah, all the time, because I say, like, I don't even hear it, but I say yeah, and people, I literally have a hat like that says yeah, like people are just like yeah, yeah. But
Is your husband from New Jersey too?
he's from Philly, but he's like in sales, and like homie, like his accent's not there. Like he can like just like like it's not really like there.
Yeah.
But yeah, mine's definitely. And I was just home in Jersey, so it's probably a little
So
extra.
picked back up a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little extra.
Got a little thicker. So today we get to give away a free hat as well. So you see me rocking my sober period hat. Our buddy Mike from soberhats.com. He lets us give away some free stuff every now and then. It's my favorite thing. Is giving away free stuff, especially giving away Mike's free stuff. So we're gonna give away a free hat today. The first person to email Mike, we're going to put Mike's email in the comments at soberhats@gmail.com. And the first person to send Mike an email, soberhats@gmail.com, that says Amanda is the coolest. First person to say Amanda is the coolest to Mike's email gets a hat. Mike has got, I'm texting with Mike right now. I'll see who wins and we'll be able to announce it in a second. First person to say Amanda is the best to soberhats@gmail.com.
Brandy, do it.
And Mike's in the comments right now. He said, stay tuned. So Mike will announce it. It's awesome. Dude, this has been so great today. And
such a powerful story. And you've just been such an inspiration on me wanting to share my story louder and louder. And I've been following you for a while, and I think you're funny. And I love that you bring like humor to, but you're serious. You can be serious too. And I could tell that you're doing all the next right thing. And you're like staying involved is like the biggest thing with people, and that you're there for people. And
thank you.
A lot of people say they will be there for you, like in the times before we got sober and stuff, but like that's what you find in recovery. Like these people say they're going to do it, they do what they say they're going to do, and that's huge.
The book tells us so many things that you just hit on. We are not a glum lot. We are not a glum lot. If I went to my first meeting and I didn't see these people laughing and cutting up and cackling and all that stuff, we are a program of attraction, not promotion. So I was attracted to that. And they could pay bills and smelled nice. Those were good things. I like.
You'll have to hear his story. It's good.
Yeah, but it was, and you also said that in the book tells me that once I'm spiritually fit, I can do anything. And going online and showing not only our wins but our losses, and showing that we can stay sober while we're losing. Life is gonna life, and that's the best thing about the Recover Out Loud, is people are living and they're showing by example that you can stay sober. Life is gonna life. It's gonna be hard, but I don't have to drink about it today. I don't have to use about it today. Today, that's not the solution. Today, this is the solution. Coming in here, talking and sharing, this is where it is. So that's, I love what you're doing, especially helping other women and having your women's group and having events and just showing each other love and support. That's the best. And your best statement that you've shared, and this is one we've talked about it. Recovery is my superpower. I want to dive into that. I want to hear more about this. Recovery is my superpower.
Yeah. So I feel like, it's before I would look at it like, oh my God, like, oh, I have to do all these things and blah, blah, blah. But the reality of it is, like, I'm so grateful that, like, I get to do all these things. I think because we went through all these struggles, you know, it makes me see things with a new pair of glasses. I have a new perspective on life, right? I'm able to be way more grateful for things around me that, and like, still to this day, I'm just like driving in my car, you know, because I have a license and everything and like a car, and I'm like looking outside and I see the palm trees. Like, it's just like I have this new look on life, and I really feel like, you know, all the struggles, my whole addiction, and then like recovery and like the steps and, you know, helping others and all those things that I do, like, makes me this like super, like, you know, human person, because like it's just like I, like I said, it just like we have like more like seasoned little spice on us now, like we just get to, like, you know, so I feel like it just made me who I am today, so it's definitely like my superpower.
I love everything about that. Krista, how is recovery your superpower?
I can agree with everything you just said, but also, I mean, we're doing more than most of the world right now. A lot of people won't
Yes.
even admit it, or they do, and they manipulate the whole recovery system, and then they're back out there. And um, just that we're actually like that, it does work, and we're doing what it says, and we're in the solution, and we're not taking our will back and twisting little rules this way because it didn't work for us. Like we're finally following the rules and living the best life we can
Yeah.
because of it. And I love that we all have a past. I mean, it almost makes us unapologetic. Like we can just, I mean, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I used to do all this stuff. You know, I was facing serious time in prison, and like, you know, like you're not going to hurt my feelings. And I think also being able to turn that pain into purpose and like help somebody, like seeing someone, the light come back in someone's eyes is like the coolest thing ever. And I love that you said we get to, because we talked about that this morning. Like you don't need to, you get to. And it is a choice, and we choose to live and be better. And it creates this bond too. We all have, you know, like we probably would not have ever met if
Mm-hmm.
we didn't have this. And we're actually really cool people and funny.
No, I love this. Recovery is my superpower. I mean, this should we should get t-shirts because it is, you know, and it's we all have pasts, we all have trauma, we all have things that we wanted to bury forever and never tell anyone, right? And when I have the courage to do the steps and go out and look at my past, and my past, once I get a grip on it and get that spiritual fitness, my past is my greatest asset to share with others and help them, you know, the same stuff that you shared with us today, that you went through, that you courageously were vulnerable enough to talk about today. The stuff that you said today, somebody could be in the comments or see this video later and be going through the same thing and living with trauma and living with a head that says I'm worthless, and you're not worthless, and you're not alone, because you know we're all living proof of you can do it. You know, you just have to write Dr. Phil a letter.
My mom's a huge Dr. Phil fan. Like that's always playing in the background. So I'm sure we would have ended up there if I didn't
That's so funny.
get arrested.
You know what? I'm gonna. So Mike gave away a free hat. I'm gonna buy a free hat. I'm gonna buy a hat for somebody. So we're gonna give away a second hat. I'm gonna buy it. The first person to email Mike. Mike, are you still with us? Mike, you still here? First person to email Mike that says recovery is my superpower. So Kelly won the first hat, and we're gonna give away a second hat. Recovery is my superpower. The first person to email Mike at soberhats@gmail.com. First person to email him, recovery is my superpower, gets a second hat on me. And I love this. I'm stoked, and I'm so glad that you came here and that you've shared your story. What message do you want to give the world? What message is it that you want to share?
That anything is possible, because again, who writes a letter to Dr. Phil and actually goes on there and gets like sober, right? And then like all these other things that happen in my life, everything I thought that wasn't going to work out, you know what I mean? And now like what I have today, like anything is possible. And like the people that I have met, it's just like crazy how life truly works out. So, and just also to say, like, you aren't alone, reach out to somebody. Again, I have sponsees that were like, from social media that were just reached out. Like, who would have like thought that would happen? Call, like, just get honest with somebody, again.
That's
I hit
good.
it for,
Get honest with somebody.
yeah, I hit it for a long time, and just get honest, like with at least one person, and just, you are worth it. I promise you. There's somebody out there that would be willing to hear what you're going through. So, yes.
That's tremendous.
This
Krista,
was
Krista, what's the best thing you heard today?
Say that again.
What's the best thing you heard today?
The best thing I heard today, get honest with somebody. I like that you said that. It's true, and it says it in that big blue book I read, and it's tell one person and God. But you have to get honest, and we lie to ourselves. We buy our own lies at full price. Sometimes we pay double, and we need to say it out loud and admit it. There's your step one, and that's powerful stuff. And this is probably the best live we've had. I say that every week, but this is like this was good. I didn't want the time to end. I wanted to hear more and more and more. So this is powerful stuff.
It really is. And I'm proud of myself. I haven't done my New York accent one time, I don't think, and I've held back, because, but it's been difficult. But, I want to thank everybody for being here. Mike, who won the second hat? Let us know in the next 30 seconds, because we're going to be cutting off. But this has been great. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Everybody go follow Amanda at Amanda Holla. And it's awesome. And check the comments later, because there'll be the winner of the second hat in there. Krista, thank you very much. Amanda, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your story. Love you, and we're all going to follow you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. All right, everybody. See you next week.